Hello everyone, and happy Halloween, happy end of Spooky Month, or celebration of Spooky Month or whatever. So today we have quite such a traditional thing. Obviously the question is how Mediterranean is it? And the answer is with the modernization of today's world, and obviously you can find it across the world, like from America to Europe to the United Kingdom, even to Africa and Asia in different places. There are different variations that we can do it. Of course, I'm talking about the candy apple. It's something very simple. You can coat it with the simple caramel that we're gonna see today. So today we're gonna see three particular ways to coat it, and one will be the more Greek or Mediterranean version that I grew up with. You can obviously change the coating to a chocolate glaze, and then you can sprinkle it with different toppings. Now before we continue into the video, make sure you have all the ingredients ready, and in order to see the recipe, janskalafats.com, or follow the link down below. And as you're down there, press the red button, join our family. So let's have a look. This is day 2. Yesterday was mostly experimenting, I would say. A tip that I noticed is, so basically yesterday I tried different techniques. The last one you will see it later today because it was a success. It was the Mediterranean way of doing the candy apples, which is with honey. However, if you want to do candy apples, don't remove the skin, like peel it or try to remove it, because then basically no matter how much you try to dry the apple, it will still be moist, and then the candy will never stick to the apple, never ever. Okay, so first thing, we're gonna remove the stalk from the apples. By the way, you can choose any apple you want. Personally, I would prefer Jazz apples as they're the smallest ones. Or Pink Lady. They're not very sweet. I would not recommend to use Braeburn because they're very sweet. If you want, you can use the green ones. I forgot the name. I'll put it here, as is like the most common. Okay, so here are our apples. What we're gonna do is we're gonna wash them at first. It doesn't matter if it's cold water. I'll tell you out soon. So now we have washed our apples. There are two things we need to do. First, we can either run them through quite hot water, obviously don't burn your hands, and then with a cloth remove the wax, because they come coated with a wax that protects them, otherwise they would be rotted. Or you can put them in a bowl and then pour boiling water and leave them for 4 minutes. However, we're gonna do the first way. So another thing that I would recommend is if you can do the prior to preparing the candy apples, like if you do it early in the morning, because later I'll explain to you that we really need them cold, so then you can keep them in the fridge, and as soon as you have your caramel ready, you can take them out and glaze. That way the caramel will stick a very thin layer very easily onto the apple. Now if you cannot do that and you want it like now, what we can do is we can put them in the freezer once we have dried them. So we can obviously we can fill our sink with hot water as well, and then it will just help us speed up the process rather than doing one by one. Okay, we have washed off the wax, so we just wanna dry them completely, and then we'll put them into a container. Doesn't matter which one. I'm gonna use a cake one, still doesn't matter. We'll do the same for the rest. And with our apples, we're gonna put them either in the fridge and use them later on this day, or we're gonna put them in the freezer and keep a timer 10 minutes, do not forget them. Okay, either if you've got your apples in the fridge cold, or either you have them in the freezer and you're waiting at the same time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna work our caramel. We need to bring it to 150 degrees, which is gonna take a lot of time. Make sure you have opened the recipe and you have scaled everything ready to go. Before you start, you have your station ready according to our recipe on our website, janskalafats.com, or you can find the link down below in the description. So right here, we just want the sugar to dissolve. You cannot mix or stir. I mean, you cannot stir, but you can swirl or shake the pan a bit, mix it. Okay, before it starts boiling, we will add our golden syrup. And then we gotta let it heat up until it reaches 150 degrees. You can use a digital thermometer if you want, or you can use a probe. But for a liquid, the digital one will be fine. Make sure you swirl from time to time so it doesn't burn. So basically this is what we want. When you start getting this golden brown color, then we'll start reducing, removing the water content, and all caramel will form eventually. 120, it's already been 10 minutes. Takes time, but we cannot really force it, we gotta wait. Okay, so we're on 136 degrees, 140. So we gotta check on our apples, that they're nice and cold. And we're gonna do a small preparation. We're gonna get a barbecue stick and we're gonna go right in the middle, but aiming towards the flesh, because if you go right in the middle it's gonna be floppy. So we'll do the same for all of our other apples. So basically you don't want to pierce the other side, because then the caramel will leave a mark. Okay, there we go. Check our temperature. You can feel it thickens as well. Okay, so we're gonna lower our temperature to 500, to the minimum basically, is 147. So basically we want the bubbles to be gone as well. So we don't want it really bubbly. Okay, our mix has cooled down a little bit with less bubbles. So we're gonna go for our next one. Give it time, rotate it. Okay, and then remove slowly. You can shake it a little bit. Just please make sure you have put the stick properly. If you haven't and you drop the apple into the caramel and you splash yourself, there's gonna be a really serious burn. Caramel is very, very dangerous to work with. You can use the gloves as well if you feel that's the right thing to do, is more safe. But for me, I trust I trust myself. So there you go, this is number 2, looking pretty. So we've got our 2 apples. The first one has a little bit bubbles, but the second one is better just because we'll let the mix cool down. It had a lot of bubbles. Now obviously we want to check the temperature, and we will be 145. It's not going to drop that easily, so don't worry. If you start dropping more, you can obviously go to the lower setting. Now what I want to try, I want to get one of our bowls here, and I want to coat it with nuts, which means as soon as I remove it from the pan, I'm literally gonna drizzle it with the nuts, and the other one we're gonna do with a little bubbles here. So we will go here on the side. If there are impurities, try to avoid them, but just don't put the apple on top of there. And then remove, shake again. There you go. When it stops dripping, obviously go left, right, and when all the excess caramel is removed, we're gonna go immediately with our nuts, like now. Now if this doesn't work, as you can see, doesn't work, it's okay. We'll leave it to cool down, and then we can spray with some either water or oil, which is basically tasteless, and then whatever you're gonna put there is gonna stick anyway, and it doesn't affect the taste. So we will go lower setting a little bit. Now if the temperature drops too low, that will affect our glazing. We're getting cold much faster, as you saw from this one as well. Now the ones we have done already, obviously if it's too hot, do not touch the caramel, and you should be using gloves for what I'm doing now. But as soon as it's a bit warm, you can still push it and perfect the shape. So let's see, we don't want that to go more than that. So we turn it off. It went immediately 155, no 150. So we're gonna leave it on the side. Once the bubbles are done, we're gonna coat the rest. Bubbles are gone. We'll check the temperature. 150, okay, lovely. So we'll get our last apple. Pan in an angle. Apple in. Rotate it well. Shake a little bit. As you can see, you start getting a bit of extra dark color. This is on the limit burn. You don't want the temperature to go higher than that. Alrighty, so here we've got our candy apples ready for our Halloween and the end of the spooky month. Also, people use it for the bonfire as well. So basically the coating didn't work. Okay, we can touch that, barely, still hot. It looks super nice, it's super simple. You just gotta be careful with the temperatures and all the steps that we mentioned earlier. What we're gonna do, once this caramel cools down and it's cold, completely cold, we're gonna spray them with a little bit of water or oil. We'll try both and then we will sprinkle them and then leave them to dry. That will help our coatings to stick on the apple. You can also do that with a chocolate glaze. Let me know if you wanna watch it. That will be different, a separate video. I strongly recommend that you don't prepare it way too in advance and you only do it like for daily, otherwise the caramel will get soft. Maybe you can prevent that by keeping it in an airtight container, but still it's not gonna be as pleasant as with fresh crunchy caramel. Unless you have added some preservatives in there, but that's a whole different story to hold longer. Now for the caramel, if you have made a big quantity and you haven't got that many apples, or you don't want to do so many apples, you can get a seal pad like that, and then you get our caramel while it's still warm, and you put it on it. Obviously you want to be careful that it doesn't go over. So if you cool it down, you'll be able to remove it from the seal pad quite easily, or for the silicone mat, whatever you've got. And then you can break it into pieces, keep it in a container, and then remelt it any timer, or you can bleach it into powder, or there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. I'll show you the number one to coat it, the one with the nuts. The one with the sugar we still need to wait because it's still warm. For the nuts it doesn't matter that much. An oil spray, or you can use water instead, and you're gonna go from far away, just a little bit everywhere. Just a little bit, you don't need much. Okay, and as you have coated it, it'll look a bit cloudy, and then you can roll it into the nuts. Now obviously you can do a second coating and a third. You can use your hand to help it. If you drop big amounts on it, that will help it, and there's a higher chance more will stick on it. Now obviously there's more of the like trimmings that has stuck on it, so we can wait a little bit and then we can do a second coating. So we'll leave that there for a bit. Okay, and now we're gonna try the second one. So we'll do the same, aiming this way. We're gonna go a little bit everywhere with our oil spray. Then we're gonna get our balls and just stick them. Like so, and then what we can do for the bottom side is we can collect all those here, or we can drop some more, and that looks quite cool, ain't it? There you go. This is how you can coat it. I mean, it's like a little cheating, but it works. And now we'll do the second coating. So we'll go spray all our nuts here. But this time, we're not gonna roll it, because then we're gonna lose the ones we have on there. We're gonna use our hand and drop some more on top. Make sure you get all the sides and the bottom. And now you'll see that the big pieces stick on it, and this is what you really want. So when you buy it, it's actually something interesting. And voila, here you are. You can also use scissors to trim a little bit the bottom. If you, there you go, so it stands better. So here we've got our candy apples. We're gonna ahead and go to rotate and pull. And this is our candy apple. Don't hold it for too long. Gonna melt the caramel. Pa, 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 pa. Look at them! Look at them! So we've got here our Mr. Nutty. Here is our extra candy one. And here, oh my god. And here is our plain one. It looks like it's not coated. It is, trust me. It slides after all. Now don't mind about that they're a bit like in an angle. If you want them straight, you can put them straight from the start before you put them on a cooling rack, or you can push them down on the cooling rack so you can give it the shape, because when it's the caramel you can shape it when it's warm. But if you put in a flat surface, it's gonna make some wave around it, and then you can either trim it, but it will look a bit... Okay, so earlier I had the failed attempt of the apple, so that's looking quite ugly, but we can still use it for our Mediterranean. We're gonna cut next to the core, exactly. And then we're just gonna go kind of thin slices. I'll put our slices in a bowl. I'm gonna do the same for all the sides. Center pan. We're gonna get our Greek honey, and you don't need a recipe for that. You just need to put enough amount to coat all your apple slices. We're gonna turn our pan on with literally just to cover the bottom. You don't need much. We're gonna turn it on to caramelize a little bit, and then we'll start glazing our slices. It's literally really simple. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. We'll keep an eye on the temperature. It's about 78 degrees. And then we're gonna lower as soon as it reaches 80. And then we're gonna put all of our slices in. Push them down to separate. You don't want them stuck together. So in Greece normally we wouldn't do that step. We would put them on a plate, drizzle them with honey, and then dust them with cinnamon. However, this is the more like tasty way for me, because you're making a caramel, and that will be really, really nice. But also in Greece we use really honey from fir or thyme or bushes that grow around, you know, in the Mediterranean region. And that's what makes the difference. Greek honey is very, very different. So then you turn it off. You don't want it to cook a lot. Okay, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna transfer them to the plate after we have glazed them. You'll see that they have softened up a bit and they hold the liquid. Obviously be careful, that will be super, super hot. Because with all the sugars, basically you're making a caramel, and you don't want caramel on your hands. So that's all your apples. Get some of the honey there, and drizzle some on top. And then what we're gonna do is we get our cinnamon, and then we're just gonna dust it a little bit everywhere. Not too much. And this is it. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed. The recipe will be found on our website, yanniskalafats.com, or links will be down below in the description. Let me know what you think, if you've tried it or which variation you like. And yeah, thank you for watching, and have an amazing day.